Okay. Hello, everybody. I was about to say good morning. It's no longer morning for me here in Spain, but it is an early morning for Martin Hajek, who's joining us from Colombia today. So thank you so much, Martin, for coming along.
Hi, Teresa. Good afternoon.
So Martin's here today because he's recently released a book called More Than a Gap Year Adventure. And we're going to be chatting about it today. So first of all, Martin, I mean, where did the inspiration for this book come from?
Well, it's based on my own experience because when I decided to get into TEFL, I had no clue what I was doing. I started Googling and I found a lot of information that was kind of misleading, to be honest. And I almost signed up for a cheap TEFL course without any teaching practice. But fortunately, somebody told me about the CELTA. So that's where I started my teaching career. And when I did my CELTA, there was just one input session on career development, which I found a bit vague. And again, I had no idea how to proceed, what to do, how to apply for jobs, how to develop professionally. And fortunately, I've kind of managed to figure it out by myself. So when I finished my Delta, I decided to kind of get involved in writing. And yeah, basically, I think I've managed to spot a gap in the market because there was no resource for new teachers who were interested in career development. So yeah, I just decided, okay, I'll have to do it by myself.
Mhm.
Even though the book is aimed mainly at early career teachers, people who would like to get into TEFL. So basically, yeah, the inspiration was to write a book for a past version of myself, for somebody who would like to make progress in ELT but has no idea how to do so.
That's so cool because I think when I first started teaching, I mean, I almost fell into teaching, but I just assumed that I would teach for a few years and then open my own school because that was what the people who were in my local context had done. So I think, yeah, once you look more into ELT and you find out all the different directions that people's careers can take, it's really useful. And yeah, I kind of wish I'd known more about getting into teacher development a bit earlier on. So yeah, it's a really great resource. So when you first did your CELTA, did you what were your plans afterwards? Was it just to kind of teach and move abroad?
Yeah, because I was living in Greece, so I did my Celt Athens, and again, I got a bit lucky because when I was doing my CELTA, there was a Delta course taking place at the same center. So I managed to observe a few lessons and I had a chance to talk to those Delta trainees. And again, it kind of inspired me because I didn't know anything about the Delta, but when I had a chance to talk to those people, I said to myself, okay, maybe I might be interested, in doing the Delta myself in the future. So, but my original plan was just to move to Colombia, and teaching English was the only way I could get into the country and stay here legally. Yeah, I didn't speak any Spanish at the time, so my plan was just to move to Colombia and see what happens.
Yeah, I think it's always really inspiring when I meet people who are doing kind of their dip TESOL Delta after 2, 3 years working in ELT. I'm like, wow, you're so enthusiastic and so motivated. I think it's fantastic. Excellent. And so you've said that this book is really aimed at early career teachers. How would you like, or how would you hope they would find this information? How would they find the book?
Uh, it's a I would say a time saver because if in my case I've managed to figure it out by myself, but it takes time to learn about all the options in ELT because again we're not giving away any secrets in the book, right? All the information is available online, but we've kind of managed to compile it and we've managed to release this one resource where you can use it as, let's say, as a guidance, like a career guide that's going to tell you, okay, what options you have and what you can do in order to stay in TEFL or ELT, because many people leave, right? That's a fact, right? Many people just give up because of the conditions. And I guess most people don't see a way to stay in ELT. They just see it as a temporary job. So I hope it can inspire people because they may not be aware of all the options in ELT. They think, as you mentioned, so I'm gonna teach forever until the day I retire. But if you really want to stay in ELT, you need to go beyond entry level jobs, and you need to keep working on your development. And yeah, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely a resource that course providers, those pre-service course providers, should be adding to their reading list because, like you say, it's got so much information in it about the different directions you can go in. So obviously a big part of the book, not only is it your experiences, but you've also approached ELT professionals from around the world. How did you first decide who to approach for the book?
Yeah. So first of all, I need to give a big thank you to everybody involved. Like if we look at all the names here, uh, I'm so proud of everybody involved, and I'm so grateful that people decided to share their stories and all the advice. So at first, I wrote the main body by myself, right? The first 8 or 9 chapters, but I realized that that wasn't enough because it would be just random ramblings by a guy based in Colombia. Nobody would be interested in reading that. So I decided to approach, let's say, experts because I'm a journalist originally. That's what I studied at university. And as a journalist, what do you do? Usually, you just ask experts for their contributions. So that's what I did. And yeah, I identified key topics in the book. And yeah, I've basically started approaching people. Like some of them were kind of obvious, right? People, bloggers or people I had talked to on social media. And yeah, asked them to share their experience and provided them with some guidance and an overview, some bullet points to focus on.
I mean, it's such a good idea because, like you say, there are so many different directions that your career can go in, and we don't know everything about our profession, but there are certainly experts out there that do. Um, so, what have you learned through asking these experts to share their opinions?
That there's always somebody who's smarter, who's more experienced, who's, yeah, it's important to be humble because you cannot know everything just, on your own. You need to be willing to ask for advice. And yeah, that's the main point. That's what I'd recommend that teachers do. Don't be afraid to ask for advice because most people are extremely nice in ELT, right? And they're willing to help you out if you need any recommendations. Uh, so yeah, that's my main piece of advice because
Mhm.
there are so many experienced people who are involved in an area which you may not know a lot about, right? So just ask them, what's the worst thing that can happen? They're gonna say no, but
Yeah.
if you never ask, you'll never find out.
Exactly. I mean, that's certainly something that I found doing these sessions in the hub as well. I mean, obviously, the hub doesn't make any money, and everyone that I approach, they're giving up their time and expertise to come and present things. And ELT is just such a giving community. I think everyone,
It is.
and I think as well, so many of us really want to professionalize the career. We want to be seen as professionals, and we want to be doing more to promote the professionalism of ELT as well. I feel like I said professional a lot in that last sentence.
Yes, I mean that's my aim as well. I'm a bit skeptical, yeah, but I hope at least a few individuals will find the book useful and then they will use it, as a way to develop and be successful and be happy because I feel like TEFL is sometimes a frustrating experience, right? When you read social media posts, people often complain about terrible conditions or discrimination or no career options. So I hope, this book will inspire people to keep progressing and find something they enjoy because it is possible to have a long-term career. It takes time. It takes a lot of effort, but it can be done. That's the main
Mhm.
point. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that was one thing that I loved when I was reading your section of the book. I mean, I posted a photo of it to LinkedIn and said, I've been nodding along at everything that you were saying. And I think you expose TEFL in a way that's very balanced. You show that it is a good profession. It can be a good profession. There are people who really love it, but you talk about the pitfalls, and those are the sorts of things that we aren't told about on pre-service qualifications. The poor wages, the long hours where you're asked to go from center to center in one day, the discrimination as well. So I think you lay it out in a really clear and readable way as well. It's not all doom and gloom. There's also a lot of positives in the book as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, teachers are usually not told that kind of stuff, right? Because if you take a TEFL course, the provider is going to tell you, okay, if you take this course, you can teach anywhere in the world. This is your passport, which is nonsense, right?
Hmm.
So they kind of sell you the idea of living in a beach city somewhere, having fun. But in reality, your first job is going to be tough. Like everybody struggles at the beginning, and there's no time to travel, and the real experience, the real TEFL experience is usually widely different from what the course providers sell you.
Yep, yep, I would agree with that. Yep, and I remember Mary in her group, the native speaker, the non-native speaker, she was chatting to someone and they were analyzing some advertisements, and one of them was, this luxurious idea of teach TEFL anywhere in the world with the palm trees and the beach. Um, but yeah, that's not the reality for a lot of people, and a lot of people don't want it to be as well. I think a lot of us do get into the profession because we want to travel, but we want a job. We want to be involved in the society that we're living in, and we want to become a part of the communities that we join as well. We're not just there to kind of spend our days at the beach and then go and teach a couple of classes. Hmm.
And we need to think about our future as well. That's what Nicola Prentice has been doing, right? She keeps mentioning the pension. That's her mantra. But yeah, we need to think about that because most people just teach without any care, like what's going to happen in the future.
Hmm.
And on a typical entry level TEFL salary, you're not going to save much money unless you go to maybe China or some other countries.
Hmm.
So we need to be conscious of what may or may not happen in the future. Like I mean, TEFL is usually seen as a job for people in their early 20s, right? That's what people do for a year or two. But it is important to be aware of the fact that you need to keep developing and you need to know how to manage your money as well.
Yep, definitely, definitely. And lots of people in the book have really great tips
Yeah.
about all these different aspects. Um, Going back to obviously self-publishing the book, was that a difficult process?
Not really. Like anybody can self-publish a book easily. I mean, the PDF version, which is the best one, by the way, is so easy to publish. You just upload it to I uploaded it to Payhip and Gumroad, that anybody can create a PDF document, right? But when it comes to Amazon, I decided to publish the ebook version and a paperback. That's a bit tough in terms of formatting, right? Because you need to make sure it looks good, and that takes time. Again, I didn't have any experience, so I need to get proof copies sent here to Colombia, which kind of made me edit it a bit and make some changes. But yeah, there are lots of. I didn't take any courses on self-publishing, even though I know, for example, Dorothy Zimak runs those amazing courses. But I I'm a DIY person, and I always somehow find a way to to do stuff. So there are lots of articles, lots of YouTube videos, and it's trial and error as well. So you eventually, I mean, it takes time. Like the formatting part was the most difficult one for me, but eventually you're gonna figure it out.
Mhm. And I know probably a lot of other people are thinking about getting into self-publishing. What do you think are the benefits of having it on a site like Amazon rather than just other places like PayHip?
Prestige, maybe. I mean, it's nice to see your name. Like when people Google your name, they're gonna see the book. But I mean, it's been just a month, so I don't really know if it's gonna if it's gonna have any benefits for me. But it looks good. That's what I would say. It's good, like for your online presence, which is
Mhm.
extremely important nowadays, right?
Yep, definitely, definitely. And you mentioned obviously this book has been a resource that kind of fills a gap in the market. Do you have any other plans for future publications?
I do actually. I don't know if I'm gonna do that or not. It's yeah, ambitious. I'd say it would be collaborative again, but I'd probably need some help from a publisher. I mean, I could do it by myself again, but yeah, if there are any publishers watching this video at the moment, feel free to get in touch and we could chat on Zoom. It's still in the early stages. I don't know if it's gonna happen or not, but I do have a really good idea for a book.
Ooh, can you tell us more, or is it top secret at the moment?
Not really, no, because it's I don't want to make any false promises because I don't want to say I'm gonna do it because I may not do it. You
Hmm.
never know because
Hmm.
we'll see.
Yeah. Ooh, I'm gonna watch this space. Watch this space. Watch LinkedIn, and looking forward to hearing if things do develop. Um, and so obviously you're based in Colombia.
Yep.
What do you think were the benefits of talking to people who are based in other countries for the book?
Yeah, because there are huge differences between countries. Like if somebody teaches English in China, or in Spain. Like most people on social media are based in Spain for some reason, most people in ELT. So you have different laws as well, different working hours, because you mentioned in Spain, usually start late, right? But in Colombia, some people start even at 6 a.m. So I wanted to add this variety. Yeah,
Mhm.
because again, I kind of know, because I talk to people all the time on social media. I have Zoom meetings with professionals from around the world, but yeah, you need to be aware of the differences in terms of culture and working conditions and so on. So I mean, I think that's one of the best things about the book, that it's not just people from a specific part of the world, but it shows you that how things work in different countries.
Mhm.
So because TEFL is not just people in Spain. There are many people from all kinds of countries. There are many local teachers as well, who
Yep.
again are kind of forgotten when we think of the ELT TEFL conversation. Nobody really thinks of the local teachers. So I think that the book can inspire them as well to keep developing. Yeah.
Yep, definitely. I think, and what you were saying as well about kind of working conditions and pay, that it can vary so much even within a country. Down where I am in Andalusia in the south of Spain, wages they're still considerably lower, I would say, than in the big cities like Madrid and Barcelona. And I think it can often be comforting for people to kind of hear what the local salary is like, what the living conditions are like, how much would a meal out cost and things like that. There was a database, I'm sure, somewhere that used to share that sort of information where lots of teachers added in their details and said, I live here and you can get a beer for this and a meal for this and monthly rent.
Yeah, people
Mhm.
need to take the cost of living into account, right, when moving abroad. But one thing I would say is that teaching online provides us with many advantages, many opportunities. So even teachers who are based in countries with low pay can, start their own online business, right? You don't need to rely on local academies. If you can become an online teacher, have a niche, and you can have clients from different countries, and especially teachers who are based in Latin America. I mean, if you can get clients who are based, let's say, in the US or in Europe, that's gonna improve your quality of life pretty. It's something that helps a lot, right?
Yep, absolutely. Fantastic. Well, I think I've asked all the questions that I had for you, Martin. Is there anything else that you want to mention about the book before we go?
Uh, yeah, just I would just say that people should or not should. I would recommend that people take a look at the PDF version because there are lots of links. There are bookmarks. So I think when we talk about self-publishing, people usually publish the ebook version or the paperback, but I think PDF books are extremely useful because I read most of my books on my computer screen.
Mhm.
So I would recommend that people check out the PDF version, which is the most readable one, in my opinion.
Fantastic. I'll share links to everything in the comments. And obviously, if anybody's got any questions for Martin about the book, about self-publishing, feel free to add them to the chat. Well, thank you so much to Martin for joining us this morning, this very early morning for him. Do check out the book. It's definitely worth a read, and particularly if you're working in pre-service qualifications, on pre-service qualifications, recommend it to your trainees as well. Thank you very much, Martin.
Thank you, Teresa.